just an update on this channel, but most of the time you guys see this car here, which is my IS300. This car is basically done. It just needs a 1J swap and it'll basically be ready for whatever. This car I just got back up and running, so this is actually my very first car I ever owned. It is a '88 Mazda RX-7 GTU. It is full S5 swapped, so obviously like the body and the motor is full S5 as well. It does have an E-fan in it, Apexi intake, and nothing else really. I might put the power steering back in. I do have that full setup, but right now I just have everything blocked off. Right now the car is currently sitting on just a Powered by Max coilovers. It does have Delrin solid mount bushings in the rear, or Delrin poly bushings in the rear, and then the front diff competition mount, so it's like 40% stiffer. It does have the rear steer delete, as well as a bunch of other Powered by Max goodies. It does have a Momo wheel, original trussed shift knob. It does have the Momo Lesmo 1, I believe. It's Momo's most expensive seat. But I'm actually headed to Vacaville today at the parts car, so I can get some stock seats in here, so I can actually sit in here comfortably, at least until I get the seats I do want, which will come later. This car was sitting for about 6 years. Like I said, it is running now on a newer S5 motor, reman from Mazda. It's sitting on RPF 1s at the moment. It's a Bridgestone's RE71Rs. These tires I just got put on, I would say 2 days ago or so. It does have a Shine Auto front lip. I am going to be doing a lot more to this car and bringing it back to life. I do got to call a dent guy, so that way I can get some dents pulled out before I get it sent off to paint. So I'm debating if I should actually paint it or I should actually vinyl wrap it myself, just because I want to basically do everything I can to this car myself. These are just extra parts in the back for various cars that I need to clean out this car. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on today, is getting parts for this car. What I'm really going for is the seats, and this actually is a hood latch for a steel hood, so it's actually not made for this aluminum hood, which I got off a buddy of mine for a really good price, and it's in really good condition, but it's very hard to close the hood. So I'm going to get the aluminum hood latch for this car on my parts car. I did 3D print that clip right there, because most of the time all FC owners do not have this clip right here for the hood latch, but I 3D printed it and it turned out really well. It holds really nice. Alright, so the last video I said I'm gonna pick up a seat for this car, amongst a few other items. I did happen to get that chair out of my parts car in Vacaville. It is actually a lot cleaner than I thought it was going to be. And there it is. I did a shampoo job on it and everything like that, and made sure it's really clean. It's in good condition, which I'm happy about. The driver's side was pretty much totaled. So today's project is basically just installing some Powered by Max camber adjuster. This actually goes to the subframe, so we'll be installing this. And I got this OEM Mazda part, which is the purge valve. My old one was a little bit beat up, and the bottom piece here in the middle actually broke off, so I actually have a screw inside of that vacuum line, otherwise it dies if it's not in there. So This piece right here is pretty expensive, and they don't sell it anywhere in store, so I did get this from Mazda Tricks down in SoCal. They do have the parts, so that is a good thing. All right, I got it out. This top bolt here was a bit of a bitch to get out. It hasn't been removed since the car was probably built, but I did get it out. So with this is the camber arm here. It actually goes on a subframe. It actually just pivots the subframe higher and lower, so that way you can achieve positive or negative camber. And the higher this goes, the more positive camber you get. The longer you make it, the more negative camber you get. So I'm gonna adjust the lengths on this, so that way it's somewhat close to this. All right, so it's a little dark, but this is the arm installed here. It goes on your subframe. So if you're looking at or pointed towards the driver's side, actually, let me turn off this fan. If you're looking at the front of the car, you would spin just the center itself. Basically this rod, you'd spin this to the left if you want to get more camber, and then you would actually spin it to the right, which would actually make it longer, and you would get negative camber. But you would have to loosen up these bolts first. There's one here and one at the top. This is a 19 mil. And this right here, well, you can't really see it, but in the center there's a notch. You could put an 18 mil and spin it if you want, but I found by doing by hand was actually pretty easy once you had everything loosened. Let's lower the car, take a look where the camber's at, see if I need to adjust it a little bit more. Move those out of the way so your wheels don't damage the lines. You gotta lift it up. Take off the locking mechanisms. That's it. Now, let us lower the car. Might try to go for a little bit more positive camber, so I'm gonna re-lift up the car and adjust the camber some more. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for a little bit more. Well, let me hire up the car first. Maybe that might actually get me exactly where I want to be just by hiring up the suspension a little bit. So I'll try that first. Alright, so I did some measuring. Basically from the bottom of this perch to the top of this perch is about 1 inch. Actually, it's 1 inch. And then from the top of this plate down to this rubber is 7 inches or 7¼ inch. So there's that. Both sides are good, but I am going to hire this up. Alright, so the car has been hired. So let's, or at least the rear has. Let's see what it looks like. Gotta take off the locks. Make sure your lines are out of the way. And then lower the vehicle. Okay, let's take a look. The rear looks better. It is sitting basically right on top of the tire. Still might make it slightly higher. Turn this down. All right, so now that we're done with the suspension portion, now it's time for the purge valve. See, this is the old one here. I mean, it's old, brittle, so obviously it's gonna crack. This is the new one here. So it does have that centerpiece here. I did change all brand new vacuum lines for the whole car, basically for the rat's nest. That's all done. So now, so yeah, basically I said I put a screw in this one, but hopefully it didn't ruin it. But I am gonna chop off a little bit of it, since it is, I made it a little long because I knew I was gonna be replacing this in the future, so kind of prepared myself for that. So I'll take that off, trim it up a little bit, get everything hooked up. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, so I got it on with the new lines. Obviously I did happen to replace this line as well because I found the actual one that goes there instead of that janky fuel line that I actually had here for the vacuum. So everything's good. I'm not mounting it down here. The angle's very sharp, so I just left it a little bit long so it has some room to move around at least. Yeah, everything's good. I am still debating if I should put the original power steering back in or if I should just do electric power steering with a Volvo pump. New corner vents here. This was like the first revision with clips, so that way it holds itself in place because they do just flop around. Kind of like this one. This one's not even really in there, but I am 3D printing the new one with the new clips, and I actually just installed the driver's side just to see how it would look. Let's go take a look at that. Oh, let me move this out of the way. It's a lot smoother. I turned the hot plate off the other way around so it's glass. It's nice and smooth, but now you can't pull it up. I also did make it 102 as far as the size difference percent, because 100% is a little loose, so I did bump it up to 102. Now the gaps are really clean, pushes itself in, looks really nice. But today the only thing I'm really doing is the wheel bearing. They were not tightened down properly. Mazda's spec is basically, there's no torque spec really on this. You just tighten it up, put something that's like 2 pounds on this, put something that's 2 pounds hanging on here, and you basically just loosen this nut, which is a, what size is this nut? It is a 23 millimeter. You basically just tighten this down, then you start to back it off. You loosen it up until the 2 pound weight eventually falls down, and that's when you know to stop and your wheel bearing is properly torqued. So that's the procedure. I got to go do the other side right now. I'll get back to you as soon as I am done with that one. This is pretty much the setup right here. This Milwaukee ratcheting wrench is 1.95 pounds, so it's pretty close to 2 pounds already. So that's what I'm using. I tightened this up to 25 foot-pounds. So now we're just gonna loosen it very slowly, and then you'll see the tool drop. That's when you know when to stop. Oh, well, there it was right there. Done. Don't forget to tighten down these bolts right here for your caliper. Mazda's range is very wide, I guess. They say to tighten these down to 59 foot-pounds to 72. So I just chose a happy median and went to 65 foot-pounds for those. Don't forget anti-seize. Since these cars are old, obviously you want to be able to get it off.